All right, enough of the bumper. Welcome back to Wedded Whispers. I'm your host, DJ Willie D. I'm out of the Nashville area. My goal in this podcast is to help educate, first and foremost, couples in the wedding planning season. And every now and then, when needs be, call out vendors. And if you would, offer me a little bit of grace today. I'm coming a little bit off the cuff. Have not had quite enough coffee yet. But we are genuinely uncut on this podcast. And today's topic involves budget weddings. Vendors, stop budget shaming couples and potential clients. Um, we see it all over the place in the wedding Facebook groups and all around, and it's getting rather annoying. So let's start with a couple basics here. Things I've touched on before. People in the greater Nashville area, Louisville, out to Knoxville, Chattanooga area, your average wedding is running right about 25 to 30 grand, which is a lot of money. If you go, East Coast, West Coast, you're talking, Northeast, upwards 70, $80,000 is what's being spent on average. Insane. So things we need to look at today. We're talking about the reality of budget weddings, and why vendors need to stop shaming couples who choose them. Um, there's there is, always has been, always will be a budget couple. There is, always has been, always will be a budget vendor. And we're going to dig into that a little bit. We're talking about the reality, um, why budget weddings exist, the damage of budget shaming, why vendors should actually start caring, and how we as vendors can shift this culture. Um, why budget wedding why the budget wedding market exists. There are a lot of reasons, and most of it comes down to priorities. There are a lot of reasons couples choose to have budget weddings, and none of them, not a single reason, deserves an apology. So, couples out there, if you're balling on a budget, you owe no one an apology. As a matter of fact, most of us vendors, I said us, me included, I'm looking in the mirror in this whole thing here. We owe couples an apology, because a lot of times those inquiries will um, hit our inbox or some vendor's inbox, and they will go entirely ignored. Um, Taking a step back here, key reasons couples decide to do budget weddings. Maybe it's a financial thing. Maybe it's a debt thing, rent, inflation. Maybe they're putting a focus on their honeymoon, or maybe they're putting more focus on their first home or kids, or their future. And maybe they've got different values. Maybe not everyone wants an extravagant wedding, and that's legit. And maybe they want to focus more on the personal touches, maybe focus on the little things, that maybe have a more intimate wedding. And I can say this, I'm sure some vendors might agree with me. I'm sure we've all seen this, whether we recognize it in the moment or not. But a lot of larger, more extravagant weddings, more quote unquote luxury weddings, sometimes will miss out on the personal touches, maybe the things that kind of um, would would make their guests feel a little more seen, a little more involved. And that can get missed when you get into the extravagant weddings. And that's not to say it can't be done. That's not to say it's not done. But with more of these intimate weddings coming in, that we're seeing, it's a lot easier to have that intimate touch, to have that focus on your guests. And maybe these budget weddings are, maybe it's an accessibility thing, or maybe it's a cultural deal. There's nothing wrong with any of that. So here's the harm in budget shaming. First off, you're ignoring a client or a couple that is looking for something specific. Maybe I've had plenty of inquiries hit my inbox that, and maybe they're well below my what it costs for me to do an average wedding. And what I am going to do is I'm going to respond. I respond to every inquiry that hits my inbox, no matter what the budget is, period. And I would call out all vendors to do the same thing. And I know sometimes it's the time thing, and maybe you had good intentions and maybe you meant to answer it. But and like I said, looking in the mirror here, I'm gonna make it my personal endeavor to answer every inquiry that hits my inbox, no matter what that budget is. Uh, this takes an emotional toll on couples. They've gone to now posting anonymous in a lot of these Facebook groups because they don't want to be shamed because they're looking for budget vendors. And it is a legitimate thing. I would dare you to go and look through the Facebook groups, the wedding groups, and see if you don't see at least 10 in the past week that are posting anonymous because they're looking for vendors on a budget. There's so much shaming going on out there. One from quote unquote luxury vendors, um, and also in our private vendor groups, we see a lot of it going on. Maybe now we see all the time, people posting about a couple looking for a $500 DJ, a $600 DJ, and the jokes that are made, the shaming that is done is disgusting. And I've called it out myself in some of these groups, but it's shameful. The language and behaviors that we use is not okay. It's not okay, and you're alienating an entire market. Um, some of these couples, maybe, like I said, they've got focus on other items, and that's fine. But that's not to say that this couple may not give you quality referrals down the road. And here are the things that I think that we need to be looking at to help change or shift the culture. Um, if you're only chasing luxury, my opinion is that you're missing out. You can be a luxury vendor, a luxury product, and still serve a budget client. And that's not to always say that you actually serve that event. I can say this: the budget couples that I have served are loyal. They're creative, and they often come back in different ways, whether it's referrals, whether it's coming back for a birthday party or um, some event further down the road. And that's just good money. That's just good marketing. Um, Another thing I want to talk about is creativity. I think thrives under constraints. And when I say that, um, don't get it twisted. I'm not I'm not in the habit of doing weddings that have a budget that is half my lowest package. But what I will say is that I know plenty plenty of DJs who are significantly lower than my average rate and do a great job for this client. And that's to say, maybe they're a budget vendor, but they absolutely thrive in this market and delivering a quality product to a client that maybe doesn't have a lot of money to spend. And we need to start changing the narrative. And starting now, starting yesterday, actually, we need to change this culture. We need to celebrate smart spending instead of shaming it. We need to start changing our language. We need to start changing our responses. We need to start changing those knee jerk reactions. We need to offer flexible, transparent packages first and foremost. We need to showcase diverse, real weddings on social platforms. And this is one of the bigger things. A lot of us will not post or not share a an event that maybe didn't fit our brand. But here's the thing, we're not showing real. One thing that I can tell you about today's young couples getting married, young couples that are in the planning phase of their wedding season, they don't give two rips what people think. Um, the whole social stigma of what's pretty and what's elegant is changing. They don't care. They're going to do what they want to do. They're going to do what feels good to them, what is most important to them, and specifically with budget weddings, excuse me, they really don't care. They're paying for their own. They're going to have it their way, no matter what. Um, and we need to start being advocates for these couples. And when I say advocates, there's a lot to unpack here, but the biggest thing here is us as vendors. We as vendors, we know these vendors in our markets that are lower cost, and not necessarily to say that they're cheap, but they're lower cost. They can fit these couples' budgets, and rather than us ignore an inquiry because it doesn't fit our brand, it doesn't fit our pricing structure, we need to start fitting these couples with vendors that fit within their budget. We know who they are. We know exactly who they are. And instead of trying to create a baseline rate, which is never going to happen. Let's just get over that right now. That is never ever going to happen. There is, like I said before, has been and always will be a budget market. There has been and always will be a budget vendor. We need to fit these couples with these vendors versus the age-old tired story that we keep seeing week in and week out. Couple posting in one of the Facebook groups or posting on Reddit or somewhere, oh my gosh, it's 1 week out from my wedding and my photographer is not responding, or my DJ canceled, and now, we paid him up front and we're not getting our money back, and now we're having to, pay out double to try to get somebody to fill in. We can stop it. We can stop that right here and right now if we start taking those vendors that we know fit that budget and hooking them up through these inquiries that come in through our inboxes and fit them with those vendors. We can stop that right now if we choose to. And I'm going to challenge every vendor that sees this to take that step. If we own that, we can change the culture. We can help we can help bring these couples into a place where they're comfortable, where they know they're getting a quality service that's not that fits their budget and fits their day. That's all we're doing here. But that's all I've got today. On a bit of a soapbox, but this, I think, needs saying and needs saying loud. If you appreciate what I'm offering here, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, share it. Share it to a couple that's in their planning phase of their wedding season. Share it with a vendor who you think might benefit from this. That's all I got for today. I'm DJ Willie D, and I will see you between now and then.